Netlon? Anyone know what Netlon is? You don't? I'm sure you see it every day. You walk around the market, you see these plastic sacks with fruit and vegetables inside, or in shops, toys covered in a plastic net. That is Netlon. And I'm going to show you in 2 minutes how it's made. The effect of drugs on a rabbit's heart. I'm going to show you that as well. I mean, we have doctors here, so they're aware that the effect of adrenaline on the heart, the effect of acetylcholine on the heart, you will remember this forever, the effect of these drugs on the heart. And I'm actually going to show you a different one to here, teaching geology. How do you teach geology? Well, I can tell you what universities used to do. They used to collect people on a Saturday morning, drive them hundreds of kilometres to some remote area, to fiddle around picking up rocks that were poor examples anyway, and then travel all the way back. What a waste of their time to collect poor specimens. Why not give them the appropriate specimen, the best specimen, and then teach them about that specimen? So that's what I want to try and show you on these 3 extracts. Each one runs for about 2 minutes. I've muted the sound so that I can talk over them. We've missed out all the gory stuff, but the rabbit, believe me, is dead. But the heart is still alive. The heart is still alive. And what the presenter has just done is connect this heart to the cannula, this little glass thing here. Now, she said in the introduction, it's a fiddly job, which what it means is you can drop it and then it bounces all over the floor. And what she's showing now is how this heart, which is alive, the heart is alive, you can see it beating. She's rigged it up to this mechanism, so you can see the beat of the heart is steady. Well, that's not the heart that stopped, it's the video that stopped. Yes, it's working again. You see, if this were a real live experiment, the experiment's finished. Whereas on video, you've captured that experiment and everyone can see it. I used to teach chemistry, not biology. And you had 30 children around, they couldn't see anything. Here, everyone sees as many times as they need to see. They've got the perfect ringside view. I talk to the technicians, they say, Fred, this is easy, easy stuff. The adrenaline has been injected. And what happens? Immediate reaction. They can see, not only see, but we can provide them with the actual trace. So they can actually do calculations on that trace. We can show them stills as an aide-memoire, as what's actually happening. Of course, in this experiment, we have a solution running through the heart. It's called Ringer solution. It just keeps the heart alive. But it can take hours for that heart to return to normal. Now, you're never going to forget that, the effect of adrenaline on the rabbit's heart, and it took 2 minutes. In the trade, we call this a talking head. This is the inventor of Netlon. Just look in the background. This guy is a multi-millionaire. And this is how he invented Netlon. He had this idea, and he got a school ruler, and he cut holes in it, and then he cut it in two so it would slide. And he put it over the face of a mincing machine. This is one using potato that's been mashed, and he's going to extrude the potato through the thing. And here you see what happens. As he moves the die, the two halves of the ruler, suddenly out comes the potato mesh. Now, eventually what he designed was this sort of die, a circular die. And as the die rotates, you'll see these slots in the die. And through the slots are forced plastic streams. And as the dies rotate, that stream of plastic is halved, is separated. And so you've got different streams of plastic coming through the die head. And of course, the plastic is hot, it's semi-molten, and it comes out as a stream. And this is what happens. This is plastic, hot plastic coming out of the die. Of course, when we rotate the die slightly, Whoops, that's what happens. You get this mesh, this tubular mesh, like you see in the market and the shops every day of the week. And of course, if you move the dies in different directions, you get different shapes. How would you explain this in words? It would take thousands of words to explain this. This is just over 2 minutes of animation. I'm told by the technicians, Fred, this is not particularly difficult. And in 2 minutes, you will never forget how Netlon is made. Oh, this is a very typical design, often used in gardening for meshes for plants to go up. There are other designs used in stabilising subsoils. There's a lot of it around Hong Kong to stabilise subsoils. A very simple use of technology. Animation, very powerful, not particularly expensive. It would have taken thousands of words, thousands of pages to actually convey that idea to your students. This is the stuff used to stabilise soils. This is the third and last example I'm going to show you. This is quite an old example, but it doesn't matter. It's the idea that's important. The student here has got an old-fashioned cassette tape. That could be streaming audio, it could be a CD, it really doesn't matter. It's the audio that you have prepared, the expert, the teacher that you've prepared, and you've got one student stood or sat by you. And here that student is looking at the most appropriate example. Well, it happens to be a piece of granite. It could be any item that in your teaching you want the students to actually see. And you can give them the piece of granite. You can give them the small magnifying glass. You can talk them through that procedure. You can tell the student to rotate the sample slightly so that the light reflects off the mica. Mica, one of the constituents of granite. Very, very simple. If I said that video, on average, simple video, would cost $3,000 to $5,000 a minute in the can, this would probably cost one-tenth of that price. This is a photograph taken at the Auckland University of Technology. Relax, it's not a real person. It's a mannequin, a dummy, like you see in the, well, not exactly like you see in the shop windows, because this dummy, this mannequin, has a pulse. It has a blood pressure. It's actually got a microphone in its throat, because there's someone, a controller, who you can't see behind the scenes, saying, I'm feeling hot, I'm feeling cold, I'm feeling sick, I'm feeling dizzy. My left arm is tingling. Oh dear, you may have a real problem. But these junior paramedics, or these medical students, can actually work on a mannequin and simulate the real thing. There is no danger to this mannequin. And it's just as well, because in this particular sequence, I can't now remember which person, but they said at one stage, I'm now going to inject so many milliliters of this particular drug. And the controller, you've just killed the patient, you shouldn't have done. But that's okay, this dummy will survive and resurrect. The real person wouldn't. And this was very, very realistic to these students. You could tell by their actions, from the sweat coming off them, this was a real situation for them, using the most appropriate medium. So sometimes, I've said realia, the real thing, or as close to the real thing as it's safe to be, it can be extremely useful.